What's up, everybody? Just a couple days ago, we started Season 6, the last season of Modern Warfare 2, before we get into Modern Warfare 3. And as usual, we got a few new weapons to add to our loadouts. The first was the new AR, the TR-76 Geist, which I just put a video about yesterday. I'll have that linked down below if you want to check that out. I think it's the new AR meta. And then we also got the ISO 9mm SMG, which is obviously the new SMG. And it fits right into the meta with the Lockman sub and its bigger brother, the ISO 45. I think it might even go ahead of the ISO 45 if you're not a Lockman sub person. You're choosing between the two ISOs. The ISO 9mm has a very similar time to kill, which we'll get into after the loadout. We'll go to true game data like usual. But it has a better mobility, it has a little better ADS, it's better overall movement and handling wise, and so I think that would slightly edge it out because the time to kills are so similar. But we'll get into that, like I said, after we go through the loadout. If you want to unlock the ISO 9mm, it's over here. If you're starting from scratch, it's going to be 20 Battle Pass tokens to unlock. And then it would be another 15 to have the AR unlocked. Personally, I would probably go with the AR because the AR, I think, is the best, where the ISO 9mm could be argued against the Lockman sub, could be argued against the ISO 45. We'll have to see how the best P shakes out, and the Lockman Shroud is actually the fastest killing SMG. But the main meta has been the Lockman sub, the ISO 45, ISO 9mm. ISO 9mm, like I said, it's so close. I'd personally go the AR first, but that's not the point of this video. The point is how good the ISO 9mm is. So let's go ahead and jump into the loadout. Like I said, we'll jump into the loadout, and then we'll go to true game data after that. So it's a very, very similar, it's pretty much the exact same loadout that you were probably running with the ISO 45. That being the spiral flash hider is going to be our muzzle. That's going to help us with the recoil steadiness, which, when you're using an SMG, you obviously don't need as much recoil control, vertical or horizontal. The recoil steadiness is more of like a bounce thing, kind of keep that muzzle in one place. It's not really rising up. It's not really going back and forth. It's kind of shaking. And so we have recoil smoothness plus 0.74 up, and then gun kick control to the right plus 0.27. Then we have the 7-inch barrel, just like on the ISO 45. And that's going to be tuned plus 0.35 up towards recoil steadiness, and then plus 0.31 to the right of damage range. If you go to ADS, it doesn't really change all that much. The damage range changes it a little bit more. Then we have the hollow point rounds on here. We have the 9mm hollow point. We're going to tune that for plus 59 on damage range and plus 5.552 to the right of bullet velocity. Within the recoil smoothness and recoil steadiness, although that's important, it doesn't really change all that much in the tuning. Then we have the demo fade tac stock, and we're going to tune that negative 2.71 down towards aim down sight speed, and then negative 170 to the left of with aim walking speed. And then we finally finish with the 50-round drum. 50-round drum is enough ammo for sure. That puts it up with the mag that I run for the Lockman sub. I know most people run the 40. I prefer to just run the 50. But the 50-round drum is our final attachment. So that's the loadout. If you go into firing range, you'll see there's not, it operates almost exactly like the ISO 45. It's pretty smooth. We'll look at the door. It's a little vertical. It's vertical and to the right, but that's nothing that's not controllable, especially because you're going to be close range. Like, that door is starting to get out farther. Even this wall is about as far as we're going to go. Now, it doesn't show the marks at all, but you can see my crosshair stayed in pretty much the same spot. And we even back it up to here. Easy to control. Nice and easy to use. We'll go ahead and back out of here. Show you the loadout one more time. This is going to be your loadout. And if all you came for was the loadout, that's kind of where we end here, and I appreciate you watching so much. And for those that care more about some data comparison, we're going to go ahead and jump to true game data now. Alright, so we're here on true game data, and just like I mentioned with the TR-76 Geist video yesterday, it only has the base stats for the ISO 9mm, and it doesn't have, well, I guess the ISO 45 and Lockman sub, unlike the M13 and the cast-off mentioned in the Geist video, did not get a change. So these stats are the stats currently. And if you look, the ISO 9mm, it's right. They were at chest now, but it's right with the ISO 45 and the Lockman sub, and actually drops off about 0.7 meters farther than the ISO 45, and a whole 1.3 meters farther than the Lockman sub. And of course, you know, once they drop off, they start to become less and less usable. And the ISO 45 at range, the ISO 45 is a better sniper support, I would say, because at range, it's going to do a little bit better up into the mid-range. But the Lockman, the ISO 9mm is a better sniper support than the Lockman sub, because it drops off farther. It's better after the drop-off for the entire time until SMGs don't really matter. Now, that's just chest shots. We look at headshots. It's a similar story, but the gap is now bigger between the ISO 45 and the ISO 9mm. If you're going to play aggressive SMG, the ISO 9mm, will even, look, if you include ADS time, nothing changes. If you include sprint to fire time, the rankings stay the same. But the ISO 9mm does have slightly better movement speed, as I mentioned. Neck, it looks just like chest. In fact, the graph doesn't move. Stomach, the ISO 9mm now is starting to lose out on stomach, but come on, hit your chest, neck, and headshots. Same thing with upper arm, lower arm, and then the legs. They all kind of stay the same, but if you're hitting your chest, head, and neck shots, the ISO 9mm, in my opinion, is edging out the ISO 45, but it's really going to come down to preference. That being said, like I said, don't sleep on. There's some other SMG options, but we'll talk about those later. The Bass P and the Lockman Shroud. But that's it for today. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. As usual, my Twitch is going to be linked down below. Feel free to follow me there. True Game Data will be linked down below. And all my other social medias will be linked down below. So please feel free to follow me there. Interact, whatever. Always makes my day. But I will see you on Mazrah, Ashika, and Vondel. Get frying. Have a good day. Bye.